Matt Butler is a retired Air Force officer with over 20 years of service and a successful entrepreneur with over 11 years of experience in the sporting goods industry. He is the founder of Rollers, a unique game that combines bocce ball, horseshoes, and bowling, and the co founder of Tally Tumblr, the world's first scorekeeping tumbler. Matt's mission is to use his skills and expertise in strategic planning, leadership, and innovation to create fun and engaging products that appeal to a wide range of customers and retailers. He is also passionate about helping other veterans and military spouses transition to civilian life to pursue their entrepreneurial dreams. Let's see what makes Matt so buzzworthy. Welcome to the show, Matt. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. How you doing today, Buzz?
Doing well. I'm seeing you got the Tally Tumblr golf swag here. I checked my mail today. I didn't seem to have one of those for the show to help you promote this. Uh-oh.
I know, man. I got to get you one here. Yeah. Whatever color you want. We got bogey blue, white tees,
Bogey
dirty black.
blue
We got
would
the
be
we got
my
the work.
favorite. I love blue.
All
As you can
right.
see, my dark blue background. Yes, blue is.
Air Force blue. Let me reach around here. This is the
Oh, that's
new yard
beautiful.
game tumbler blue. So this one's
Yeah,
for
I love
cornhole and
that.
bocce ball. Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah, baby. That I love that. I love that. That's awesome. So you've been a busy little bee since retiring from. You retired from the Air Force, right?
I did. Yeah. 20 years and 3 months in the Air Force. Yep.
I love how a military as a vet, I was like, I know exactly how long. I know the date that I joined and the day that my last day of service.
Oh
And
yeah.
everybody
It's
knows
definitely ingrained into you. Yeah. Yeah.
January 6th. Oh, that's so funny. January 6th, but 1996 is when mine was. That was the day of infamy for me. And then July 29th, 2005 was my last day of service. I'd already
Oh
started my
boy, you
business.
got it down. Yeah.
Yes, down to the day. I don't know why. They're like this. I don't remember when I made rank. I don't remember any of the other stuff. I know how long it took me to do rank, but I don't know when I pinned on or anything like that stuff. Anyway, so you were 20 years in. What took you from being an officer in the Air Force
Yep.
to being a product development entrepreneur?
I will give you the brevity version of the story because I know we're limited on time here. So, one of the first consumer product goods I created is I got involved into sporting goods and more specifically yard games. And so I created an outdoor game called Rollers, which is a cross between bocce ball and horseshoes. I originally got back from a deployment, and you remember getting back from those, you get a little bit of R and R.
Yeah.
And so when I got back on that, I prototyped my concept of the game. And then people enjoyed it. They liked it. I actually sold it at a church fair for a little while. And it was funny if you saw my trade show setup, you would be laughing, almost crying because I had a bed sheet over the table and the
Nice.
name rollers. It was, but you got to start somewhere, right? It's your minimal viable product. That was my trade show MVP.
Nice.
Um,
But what
and
did you think of that game? Like what drove you to that or what sparked the idea for that to even start?
yes, so growing up in Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes, you get a little cabin fever right around March time frame, waiting for that snow to melt. And I had a lot of awesome memories of hanging out with friends, family, playing outdoor games, commonly bocce ball, horseshoes. And then in my Air Force career, I lived in Italy, so very popular to visit wineries, bocce ball all over the place. And so
Mm.
those games were just kind of like twirling around in my head, and I thought there's got to be a new game that's out there. And then it just started, pieces started to piece together like a Jenga set here, and I just started creating that prototype and getting a lot of feedback from people on the game. And when I first got somebody that wanted to buy it, and I had it much higher price than what I had it right now, that's when that light bulb turned on, and I thought I might have something here. I had no intention to originally go into yard game manufacturing or yard games. That was not my intent. It was more for fun, more
Uh-huh.
for to take a concept. something to put your hands on and play with friends and family. And so I will fast forward from there. I had somebody that inquired on, what's your wholesale price? I didn't even know what that meant really and what the margins and things were. I didn't know anything about packaging, UPC codes, anything like that. And so, fast forward today, we've gone through over six figures, 150,000 units. We've sold in all sorts of different retailers today.
Uh,
And that's kind of been the journey of rollers. I support all sorts of veteran, first responder, charity organizations. We've got a couple leagues. There's actually just a rollers and yard game league that just ended in New York last week, and so
no
it's
way.
just kind of fun,
That's fun.
getting the game out there and getting people together just to have fun and socialize and be outside.
I love that. I love that. And then, so you had the success of the rollers, and then you came up with your second idea with the
Yep.
Tally Tumblr. So where did that come from? Was that a necessity or just you fooling around?
So this is a combination of a little fooling around, a little. So the original one, the concept. This is a yard game one. You keep track of two scores or teams on top. These rotate
Okay.
into keeping track of your score. The bottom ones are how many rounds that you've won of the game. And
Okay.
so originally came out with a tennis, a yard game, and a golf. And I
Okay.
ran it on Kickstarter and it got fully funded. So I knew that there was interest in the market. It helped me get a little bit of seed funding for molds and other things like that. But it started with the yard game, and then I started going into other sports. I wanted to have a portfolio or a combo of
Sure.
that. Um, Later, as I've learned more, we've created a different iteration of the tumbler. It looks a lot better. It's higher quality, and
Mm,
I'm so thankful to my original Kickstarter backers and original buyers because they gave me the feedback to make the product better than what it is today. And
nice.
so it's been really fun to bring another product to market, and I love getting the feedback and seeing the strong interest that we have in demand for Tally Tumblr.
Yeah, so you're saying there's a sort of a huge demand, and you're doing
Yep,
both the direct to consumer, so D2C,
yep,
but then you're also
yep.
wholesaling it. And you were talking about some of your struggles, your recent struggles in
Right.
dealing with inventory. Tell the audience a little bit about this.
Well, so for example, our minimum order quantity originally was 3,000 units. And then I sold through those units, didn't take a dime out of it, reinvested it,
Hmm.
purchased 6,000 units. And then I just kept doubling down every single time. Um, Along the way, doing a lot of digital advertising, listen to your podcast and getting some advice on doing all of that along the way. It keeps me up to date and fresh on everything.
Yeah.
And since I'm already connected in with rollers with buyers, I just created a sell sheet to pitch them. And
Hmm.
so we've tried it with a few retailers, smaller size. We're talking with
Hmm.
some big ones too. And I just got a new container load in thousands of units of these, and it's the golf version, which is really taken off. I can talk about that. Um, and then I just got a call the other day, and they almost want to purchase all the inventory that just came in. So now I'm scrambling to bring more inventory in. Does it make it in time for the quarter 4 holidays? Do I get it in all the distribution places it needs to be? So, as I told you prior to this, is I get just as stressed out with having too much inventory.
Mm.
Um, and
Hmm.
I'm glad there's no expiration on the product. It can
Right.
collect dust and be there for years. But I get just as stressed out if I don't have enough. So if I have too
Right.
much or if I don't have enough, I'm still stressed out. My body still gets all
The cortisol
stressed
is
about
just
about that.
flowing through.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you now, I mean, because now you have to make this decision of like saying yes to to the retailer means that you don't have the inventory for your B2C, and you
Yes.
make more money when you sell it in
You,
B2C, but
you
it
got it.
can take a lot longer to sell the B2C because you're selling them at one, two, maybe a half a dozen at a time versus thousands of them going out. So how do you make a decision like that? What goes on in that process?
So let's start. If I start weighing it out in my mind here, is I know I'm guaranteed through a purchase order that they're going to acquire it. So I know that I'm still making I would call it less margin than I'm doing D2C, but it's still
Mm-hmm.
a healthy margin.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm getting more cash into the system for me
Mm-hmm.
to buy more.
Mm-hmm.
And so the timing is probably going to work out. I'm going to have enough to still do the D2C, but there's going to be a pause. And I may do a little pushback just to go back and I know, as you and I both know, having the analytics to go back, and I'm looking at sales history,
Mm-hmm.
daily, monthly trend analysis, and that's what I'm looking at. So I will probably do that, and then I just have to see if we can make the timing align with manufacturing and shipping and everything like that. But the big key is for me to get more product out there, even though
Mm-hmm.
it's at a less margin, so I can get that feedback, and so I can get that um, more of just. I'm trying to think of the word, but just word of mouth. There was one. Sorry,
Sure.
word of mouth, because that's the most cost-effective marketing that's
Oh,
out there, and I
huge.
want people to to have that. So, for example, our golf version, as you know, on a golf cart,
Yeah.
you've got two cup holders that sit right in front, and
Right.
people always have a drink on the golf course, if it's water, a alcohol beverage, whatever the case may be, but I've sold so many of those, of somebody having one of those and just sitting in the golf cart, and their buddy said, what is that? Well, I need to
Mm.
get one of those. And I've gotten a lot of emails to the website saying, my buddy got one of these. I just ordered 4 or 5 of them off of Amazon or
Mm.
Walmart or any of these retailers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the golf one really, I found the right spot, because the golf really interacts well with the customer. I mean,
Mm,
it's
it
it's really the
does.
spot. So
Yeah. I could see that. I mean, with the tennis, you would have to stop what you were doing, walk over to your cup, make the change,
yep.
go back up there. Now, bocce ball, though, I'm going to be having a drink in my hand and a bocce ball. So I could do that at the same time. So I could get there. I'm sure you guys have a cornhole one.
Oh yeah, you can use it for. So let me show you another here, reaching over the camera. This is the packaging, and along the side, we've got pictures of all the different games to
Love it.
include rollers. And so people can see a visual of different games that you can utilize for that yard game tumbler. So
Gotcha.
cornhole, bocce ball, spike ball, can jam, washers.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
love
all
it.
sorts of different games that are out there. And that is, we've got a really good feedback as well, because it's a play, a pause, sip the drink again, and kind of repeat. But you're right, with tennis, we're actually going to discontinue the tennis.
Yeah.
I mean, we know our demographics, we know the people,
Right.
and we're in a good market. The problem is the product interaction with the consumer is, like you just said, you play and then you don't go and keep track of the score,
Mhm.
as much as you do in between hitting the golf ball or throwing a bag or a bocce ball. So
Mhm.
that is an area, as somebody's doing demographic study, is you also have to you have to see what that interaction is with the product and
The actual
consumer.
product. Now, a while
Yep.
back, you and I were throwing around an idea because you were saying like the buddies were sitting there. Oh, you got this cup? Where are you at? And I suggested a QR code either on the bottom or on the sides where they could just ching ching and then order their cup, their tumbler right there on the course. Did that ever happen? Were you ever able to integrate that onto
We've
the
got
cup
something
itself?
in between. So bottom, for right now, temporarily, we just have website, but I'm still going to look at that QR code, because the QR code, I felt like, had started off really well in marketing. People knew what it was. I felt like it
Right.
died off. That's just a personal opinion. And right now it's coming back so
It's
much.
huge.
Everybody knows what it is. It's
Mhm.
huge. And I've listened to your podcast about how you can manipulate the QR code to have it sent to different locations. So
Yeah.
um, it's still going to be added to that, or maybe on the packaging. These are the things that I love, is getting advice like that. Trying to figure out, when do I want to fit it in? When's the right time?
Sure.
Getting that feedback from the consumer and the customers saying, "Hey, I'm glad you did this," or this. But the bottom line is, it's still going to be added in there. I love that idea.
I love that. I love that. Yes. So now as you're I think that I'm going back to your dilemma of, do I wholesale it, get the cash now? Cause I mean, was it a bird in hands better than two in a bush? type of thing,
Yeah.
right? You do have that timing though of the holidays, and it sounds like you're working that out. But in the meantime, I'm sure you can do back orders and stuff like that. So that's always showing, that there is a high demand, which creates that there. Now, when you talk about, let's talk about pricing though, because like pricing is always
Sure.
such an amazing science, and it's a soft science as far as I'm concerned. In the retail products like you're selling
Mhm.
here, how do you navigate pricing? Because you have this high demand. To me, I'm
Right.
like, if I have a high demand for a service and I'm running out of that time to, deliver for a client and stuff like that, it's like, okay, well then the next person is going to pay more because it's in a higher demand. Is
Right.
it anything this is any of that the same in working with the products that's in such a high demand?
Well, it is, and for one, I want to listen to customer feedback all the time.
Right,
Getting
right.
that back into the cycle of making the decisions here. What I would say is when I originally started off, is I looked at what other existing brands have similar products on the market. So, for example, I looked at
Mhm.
Yeti tumblers to see
Mm,
what they're selling for. And then
mm,
I looked at Stanley, and as you know, Stanley's very popular that's out there. They almost went through $1 billion of tumblers, which is very impressive and very positive
amazing.
for my business. I'm trying to carve a little area out of all of that into the sports industry and specifically golf and yard game, which I think I can definitely do. And so I did a little, just analysis because if you're the customer and you're looking at two 30-ounce tumblers, do I
Mhm,
want to go with a Yeti or do I want to go with a product that is made in the same factory as Yeti, which this is essentially a Yeti, it doesn't say
mhm,
it, and that has a scorekeeping ring capability to it. So there's added value to what that existing product is out there.
mm,
I've also got feedback from people saying, I'm surprised you have it at, so the price point of that is 40. And so
mhm,
I've had people come back and say, I'm surprised it's not at 45. And so
mm,
I like to hear that because I still have a healthy margin. But if I
mhm,
do need to pivot because of increased cost, as we know, inflation and
mhm,
increases everywhere, I do have a little bit of wiggle room that I possibly could go up a little bit if
mhm,
needed. But if not, I want to keep it at kind of a compared cost of everyone else. And so, and there's all sorts of different iterations out there. Because I have a lot of people say, well, why don't you do a koozie or a 20-ounce or a 45-ounce with a handle and everything? But you know what? I don't want to overwhelm myself. I just want to stick with what's working right now. Right now,
mm.
we're doing color variations, and now we're looking at custom laser engraving for golf courses.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, especially if two people have the same color in a cart there, you wanna make sure you're not getting somebody else's score.
right. Yep.
So
Yep.
what advice would you give to a budding entrepreneur who has an idea for a new product? Has
Hmm.
never tested a product, never not tested, but never have brought a product to market before, but they know maybe they've done some test marketing, like you said, in with the crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, and found out, okay, yes, it looks like I have a market fit here. What advice at that point would you give that budding entrepreneur?
I would say the first thing is I have had a lot of inventors and entrepreneurs that are interested in developing a product. The first thing I said is look to see what's in the market for one. You'd be very surprised, and I've even thought of ideas and it was out on the market. And for
Mm,
whatever reason, it just didn't do well. It could have been the owner of the company, it could have been not a very good product, maybe the timing, there's a lot of things, but look to see if it's out there. um, and then look to see what value or problem are you solving, because you want to have somewhat of a problem which will bring an opportunity, and then you have to start thinking through, um, what are the things and sources necessary to bring the product to market, and then you start
mm,
thinking about price points and things like that. But you know somebody can create, I created a tumbler, and there's tons of tumblers out there, right? But I
mhm,
created something that is a little bit new, a little bit of a twist, a little bit of value added to what's already out there and existing. So somebody has to evaluate their idea. I would also recommend, there's a lot of inventor forums out there. I used to
mm,
subscribe to Inventors Digest as a magazine. and create look up a template non-disclosure agreement. Reach out to some people and have them sign that, get their feedback. And that's what I would say is look what's out there and get feedback out there. And then don't wait too long. I mean, there's ideas that I have that have been around in my mind, and I've actually seen a couple of them come to market. And I probably could have moved quicker on them, and I didn't. But it's perfectly fine looking back, because you want to focus in on your one product. You don't want to spread yourself too thin where you're doing too many things.